that's definitely for you. Thank you for
Yeah.
thanks
Well,
thanks for doing this.
What will stop that? Me suing them.
Okay, well, yes, Barry Diller truly needs no introduction. He's, among other things, kind of the mayor of this part of New York. If you haven't been to Little Island across the street, one of the best islands.
It's pretty nice there.
It's pretty nice. But yeah, we sank your yacht using AI, and I think your company is seen in some ways as very vulnerable because you have a lot of search-driven properties, things like within Dotdash, the Spruce, a lot of great properties that are connected to search.
We also have now Meredith, so we're a large publisher.
Right. So how do you defend yourselves from the new threat?
Well, I think all on our own, it won't be very much of a defense. I think of this moment in time reminds me of 25 years or so ago when the internet first began. And when the internet first began, everything was free. And it was kind of decreed at that time that everything was free. And therefore, all publishers said they really had no other choice. So up went the scraping of all of their information, and they tried to have advertising be whatever it could be. But because of the nature of the times and the moment and advertising in this awkward new internet form, publishing cratered. And it literally took almost 20 years for publishers to say, wait a minute, it's not free. And that began paywalls and subscription services, et cetera. But the amount of destruction that took place at the beginning when it was declared a free media, whatever, was enormous. And I think that today is potentially analogous to that, which is if publishers do not say, you cannot scrape our content. You cannot take it transformatively, to get to the key word in fair use, but you cannot take it and use it in real time to actually cannibalize everything. And if you think that won't happen, I think you're just being a fool, which means that if in fact these generative systems are able to take, again, currently, as you probably all know, OpenAI stopped, I think it's up to 21 and where they drew the line just because they had to do something in order to get the thing up. But within months, it's going to be up to date, real time. If all the world's information is able to be sucked up in this maw and then essentially repackaged in declarative sentences, in what's called chat, but it isn't chat. There are many graphs, if you want, 25 on any subject. There will be no publishing.
So how do you stop them?
Impossible. Well, what you have to do is get the industry to say, you cannot scrape our content until you work out systems where the publisher gets some avenue towards payment. Because right now, OpenAI, which is a really interesting example, as against certainly Google, and Google's certainly going to have the same that OpenAI has. They'll have, they're starting with Bard, and it's a little more primitive, but it'll get there very quickly. If you actually take those systems and you do not and you do not connect them to a process where you cannot do this until the path towards some way of getting compensated for it, all will be lost. The only way you can do it two ways. The industry can get together and say, we've got enough people on our side to stop it. The other side is that it's more difficult to do, but companies can absolutely sue under copyright law. copyright infringement will give you $150,000 per slug if you can do it. Now, what will happen is it'll get up to the Supreme Court and whatever. But so I think...
How close are you to doing these things? Have you talked to Sam Altman? Have you sent threat letters?
We are we're very, very close. But the
close
point
to
that
suing,
the
or
point,
close
the point that I was making is that I didn't make actually is that OpenAI is started as a nonprofit and put a for-profit part of it in order to get enough money that they could get the thing going, and went to Microsoft for the outside investment, who has invested billions in it. But Sam Altman, who's a very close friend of mine, and he's on one of our boards, Sam really is interested in AI in the purest form. He really isn't. First of all, he has zero, which most people don't know, and of all this reporting, nobody's really paid much attention to this. He has zero financial interest in OpenAI. Well, I shouldn't say zero. He has a very tiny part of something that was made in the prior thing as part of something else. He gets paid $60,000 a year and has no economic interest. His interest is essentially not for profit. It's for the promulgation of generative AI.
Do you think he's sympathetic to the media business, to news publishers?
Yeah, I think he's sympathetic, but I think he also realizes the dragon that he's got and what is going to happen. It's inevitable. It's not, what I'm saying is the danger is he's not for profit. So issues of revenue have no real relevance for him. You'd be better off, frankly. Why do you think Google didn't, why did they let this little company trounce them? Well, they have this huge advertising business and recognized that if you go plunge into this in the way that they had, hopeless for your, crucify your revenue business, as against Microsoft that has 3% of the market, and I think couldn't care less. I think they're in this for productive and destructive reasons for competitors. Anyway, I'm bammed on. So.
Well, I have like a...
But anyway, so I think the point is that unless publishers get immediately active and absolutely institute litigation, but also have a mass position of saying, we are not going to let what happened out of free internet happen to post-AI internet, if we can help it.
So I've got a list, I've got hours worth of questions for you here. We only have a few more minutes. And
thank God.
And the other one...
For everyone's sake.
there was a piece in the Ankler the other day about how you became chairman of Paramount when you were 32 in 1974. A number of other executives of that era were in their 30s, early 40s. Sherry Lansing, Jeffrey Eisner. I think most of Hollywood is still run by people of your generation, really, of that generation. I'm curious, do you think these Hollywood executives are too old?
Yeah. Everybody's, well, look, at its best, that kind of editorship, which is what running those companies are, it's making choices between this film or this project or that project. I don't think it's a mature, it's not, experience is not the great helper here, because usually your instincts over time get cynical and corroded. It is, if you want to take risks, and if you don't want to take risks creatively, you're not going to have much. And I think it's all become too old and too suited.
Too suited.
S-U-I-T.
Yeah, no, I could see that. Do you, speaking of, I guess even older media executives, Rupert Murdoch, your old boss and friend, is potentially going to have to testify in a few weeks in Delaware. Yeah. How big a risk is that for him and for the company?
De minimis. I think, look, I hope they'll lose. I think they should lose. And I think they could get a very big award. So what? They'll pay it. Yeah,
they can afford it. All right.
What is it going to do? Is it going to worsen Rupert Murdoch's reputation? Good luck to you.
Fair enough. Got Chris Licht coming by a little later at CNN. Any advice for him?
Not that I would. Oh, no, I have none.
And finally, have you been watching Succession?
You know, I actually avoided. That's not true. When it began, what is it, fourth season now? So first season, I watched the first episode, and I just thought, it was billed as the saga of the Murdochs, and I thought it was funny, but I thought it was really stupid. And I just thought it was silly. I didn't bear any reality that I knew. So I didn't watch anymore. But the other night, I was with some people, and we were going to watch something, and they said, should we watch the first episode? And I watched it of the first, so I haven't seen anything, but I watched the first episode of this current season, and I thought it was really good.
Did you find it realistic?
No. But I thought it was good drama, and I thought it was funny, and I thought that while the first episode that I seen years ago didn't really go anywhere, this first episode definitely put up stakes, and I just thought as drama, it was good stuff.
That's a good review. Well, thank you so much for subjecting yourself to this. That was a delight. Thank you.